So here's the thing. A lot of people who are looking to make a career pivot already have the skills they need to get the new job. It's just that a lot of y'all are bad at branding. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because so many times, and I fell into this trap myself, so I'm not just yelling at y'all. So many times there are skills that we have, projects we've done, people we've managed, tools that we've used that directly apply to the new career that we're getting, but we don't know how to position our previous experience in a way that's like appealing and makes sense to a hiring manager or the team that we're looking to join. So that's what we're going to talk about. All right. First things first, all of us, it does not matter what job you are working. If you're a dog walker, a professional dog walker, there's probably industry specific like terms that you use on a regular basis in emails, on yeah, in any types of communication that nobody else is going to know what you're talking about, or very few people will know what you're talking about, especially in the industry or career you're looking to move into. I'll give you an example. When I was working at the hospital before, in my previous role, we might say something like, hey, make sure the surge tech gets the orthopedic Baumgartner tray and it gets delivered in time, or make sure that the instrument tracking system is updated. That way we know that all of our count sheets are correct. If you do not work in that specific department of the hospital, you have no idea what I just said. You might maybe have a general idea, but if you're a hiring manager who is looking through, let's be generous and say 30 applications, 30 resumes, and that's all I put on that resume, it is so much easier for me to just push that one off to the side and go to somebody who is talking a language that I understand. So, the experience that I changed that to when I moved to tech sales was, instead of instrument tracking system, all it is a CRM. It's essentially a CRM. It's a database that you can track. You can see all the physicians, you can see their preferences, you can see you can track individual instruments. You can keep track of whole trays and where they are and where they're stored. It's a CRM just for surgical instruments. So once I was talking to, like, got into an interview and was talking to a hiring manager, rather than saying, yeah, we had an instrument tracking system that would track all the thousands of instruments that we had, like, I would talk about it in tech sales terms rather than sterile processing terms. And that makes such a huge difference, because the reality of it is, it is your job as the job seeker to sell yourself and to make sure that the hiring manager understands what you're talking about. In this job market, it is a privilege just to have a job. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to make it as easy as possible for a hiring manager, for a recruiter, for someone on the team that you're looking to join to be able to look at your experience, read, a quick summary of what you did previously, and automatically know, okay, these are skills that are valuable for the job that I'm hiring for our team, for this person to be successful. Okay? That's first thing. Another thing is that there's a little bit of imposter syndrome at play here too, but there can often be a lack of confidence associated with making, a career pivot where you don't feel like you have direct experience. Like, if you're talking to a manager and you say, yeah, I know I don't have, like, direct experience, but I'm really hungry to do the job, and I'm so excited to learn, and that's a lot less appealing than, hey, I know you guys use XYZ systems. I haven't used these XYZ systems, but I've used these ABC systems, which are extremely similar. They might be made by the same company, just in a different vertical. I haven't managed a sales team, but I've managed this type of team that's super high pressure, had activity metrics to hit every day. I haven't cold called, but I worked at a contact center where I was talking to people that were under pressure all day long. We had to answer a certain amount of inquiries or inbound messages every day, right? So, yeah, you don't have direct experience, but you can still do the thing that they're asking for. And that's the main thing that they want to know. They don't need to hear, yeah, I've never really worked with a CRM, and I don't know, this is my first time, like I'm not really sure how I would do. No, I've been here before. We does this just a little bit differently than maybe how you were going to do it in your new job. That makes sense. Cool, 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 cool. The next thing is when you're talking about this, you want to make sure that you're framing it in a way that it's less about what experience you don't have and why this pivot makes sense for where you're trying to go. Okay. So if I, or you know what, not even if, I'll give you a perfect example. When I was when I was interviewing initially for my current role and for like the other offers that I got, one of the things that I would talk about is, hey, I have these life goals. I know sales is a great way to do that. It's a good career. If I get in here, then I know that I can do this, the ultimate thing that I want to do. So here's where I am now in sterile processing. I know that I want to get here, and I need to start here at the bottom of the ladder so that I can work myself up to where I want to be. That's more how you want to frame it, because part of it is a level of motivation, right? It's also an understanding of making sure that they understand that it's a lateral move. It's not like a completely brand new thing. And again, if you are marketing yourself appropriately, it won't feel like something that's just like absolutely crazy. Okay. There's another aspect of this where, like, certain skills, again, it's kind of an blah 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 blah. Again, English is my first and only language, Alexis. Why is it so difficult? Anyway, there's an aspect to like how skills are written on a job description versus how they actually translate in real life. So, for example, if you look at, a job application for a teacher, right? Just a regular K through 12 teacher, it might say, and I've never looked at a teacher application, so please excuse me if this isn't exactly right, but it might say something like, needs to manage the needs of the children as well as their parents while, keeping compliance and educational standards according to the district. Well, all that is stakeholder management, but that's not what it's called. And I'm kind of going back to my old point. This is when these are basic notes, so I might be skipping all over the place here. But that stakeholder management, again, it's rebranding it so that your hiring manager understands what the heck this connection is, because they don't know. Most of them do not know. I will say that at least in sales, not always, but I do see it often on LinkedIn, sales, they tend to want people who are career changers, which makes it a whole lot easier. Like, they almost want someone who doesn't have direct sales experience or like specifically tech sales experience, because you're trainable and generally you have the motivation to like push yourself to hit the metrics you need to make sure that your numbers are met each month. So if you brand yourself appropriately, it can be a whole lot easier to do that. Now, one of the last points I have is there's a difference between putting together like a portfolio of skills and just trying to showcase what's the word? Showcase hold on. I'm finding it. Showcase like qualifications maybe. I see a lot of people do this where like okay, they want to get a job in tech sales. So they'll go to some random Udemy or what's the other one? Coursera or whatever course. They'll even go on LinkedIn Learning and do all of those courses, get all of those, and I'm guilty of this myself, which is why I'm telling you about it because they were useless. But they'll get all these courses. They'll pay, a couple $100, buy the courses and be like, okay, I got this. I can do the job. You know what they don't care about? A certificate. Don't care. I don't know if you've ever seen like some of the reports or YouTube videos. I know TikTok has them too of like people who graduated with like software engineering degrees or computer science degrees or have gone through boot camps and whatnot, and it's like a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later and they still haven't gotten a job. If you lean too much on just a certificate, just like, hey, this person completed this education, but you don't have a portfolio or like an active demonstration of those skills, the certificate really doesn't mean anything. Okay. Um, one thing, not one thing, but something that you can do is show that you can do the job by basically doing the job. Okay. I think it works especially well in sales. Again, I'm speaking specifically from a tech sales standpoint, but I think it works especially well for sales because a lot of what my day-to-day job is emailing people, calling people, reaching out on LinkedIn, depending on what company. Like I know there are some SDRs that do, we'll say, more creative outreach. They have budgets for buying gifts for their prospects and all sorts of stuff, okay? But when I was applying, I showed that I could do the job of getting a prospective customer's attention by getting the hiring manager's attention. And it could be very similar no matter what career you're pivoting into. So, for example, if we are trying to go from I don't even know, but let's say you're trying to pivot into marketing, right? If you can put yourself out there on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can post enough about yourself, if you can market yourself to the point where you get some founder's attention, you get some marketing manager, some director of product marketing's attention, they already know you can do the job because you did it for yourself. If you want to get a social media management role, again, showing that you have a consistent posting schedule, that you know how to put together content pillars, that you know how to do a deep dive into who your ideal customer is and speak directly to them, that is going to speak so much louder than you doing some course and getting a certificate for it. If you put together a portfolio of, hey, I spent 3 months building out this tool that does XYZ in my job search. Oh, wow, this person can code. That makes you a lot more attractive as a software engineer, right? Again, portfolio over like certificates, like those. The word isn't qualifications, but you know what I mean. Those like kind of potentially surface level qualifications. And lastly, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take an audit of the skills that you currently have. You can take, whatever based on your current career. I don't care if you work at an Amazon warehouse. I don't care if you work for USPS. I don't care if you are a college student. There is something in your experience. You have skills that can be translated to a new job. And I want you to take an audit of those skills and compare them to a couple of the job descriptions that you've seen for the role that you're targeting. So, if it's an SDR role, for example, something in tech sales, I want you to look at those job descriptions and see how your current skills match up to the job description, and make sure that your skills on your resume, if you're on LinkedIn, your skills in your about section and your experience section match up to the job description that you're looking at. So, is it cold calling? Is it reaching out to prospects? Is it identifying an ideal customer persona? Whatever it is, if it's managing stressful situations, if it's dealing with rejection, whatever, okay? Do a quick little skills audit, write it down, put it in a note. I don't care. I just take like 10, 15 minutes and do that. And I promise you, you will be in a much better place in your career, or excuse me, in your pivot. Well, in your career too, if you take my advice. um, in your pivot, if you just take that one piece of advice and implement it, and it probably won't take nearly as long as what you're probably thinking. Okay? Okay, cool. We good? Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully that was helpful to someone. If you don't know, my name is Alexis. I post here on YouTube every single day. And my goal is to post for a minimum of 100 days. Check my track record. Today is day 46. Yeah. Yeah, and I talk all things tech sales, pivoting into tech sales, navigating big life changes, living your life more boldly and more audaciously with more confidence. Um, yeah, so if that's up your alley, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Share this video with somebody who might be trying to make a career pivot, who maybe wants to move into tech sales, who might want to solo travel. I have a couple videos on that too. Yeah. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend or wonderful whatever day it is when you're watching this. All right? Bye. See you tomorrow.